Today we're talking about pornography addiction. And if you tried to quit before but keep falling back into it, there's one thing you need to understand first. The problem isn't that you're weak. The problem is that you've been using the wrong strategy. So for a moment, I want you to set all of that aside and pay close attention to me. Because in this video, I'm going to share 5 uncommon but practical strategies, approaches grounded in how your psychology actually works. These are not just mere ideas. These are proven principles designed to create lasting change. So if you're interested in this, let's dive in. But before I explain how to quit this addiction, I need you to understand why this habit has been so hard for you to kick. Would you agree with me if I told you that you are the one making this addiction so difficult to kick? Because for a few days, maybe even a week, you think you're in control using your willpower. But then something changes. Maybe you feel stressed, bored, lonely, or tired, and before you even think clearly, you find yourself back in the same habit. But here is where the struggle lies. You cannot properly understand how you got tied to this habit that seems impossible for you to break until you have a proper understanding of how your dopamine is being consumed by pornography. However, understanding this alone can get you out of this struggle, so pay close attention here. When you watch porn, there are 2 levels of dopamine release. The first level is called anticipatory dopamine release. This kind of dopamine release happens before the actual sexual climax. The moment you begin to search, scroll, or even think about watching porn, your brain starts releasing this dopamine. This is most often driven by curiosity, novelty, and expectation. The second level is consumptory dopamine release. This occurs during sexual arousal and peaks around orgasm. This spike is intense but short-lived. Immediately afterward, dopamine levels drop sharply, and another hormone called prolactin rises, which contributes to feelings of temporary satisfaction, fatigue, or even guilt or emptiness. That crash is part of what makes the cycle repeat and reinforces your behavior, because the brain remembers the orgasm, but not the emotional aftermath. But because all this happens right in your brain, there are a few problematic things you should understand about dopamine. Dopamine release controls how you react to pleasure. It also triggers your cravings and reinforces your habits. So anytime you have an orgasm while watching porn, the pleasure you had during the act increases dopamine release, which causes you to crave more and reinforces your behavior. But here is the hidden problem. When you get used to high dopamine release from watching porn, your normal life can start to feel dull. Why? This happens because humans have a limited quantity of dopamine every morning when they wake up. So when a large volume of your dopamine has been released during the act, you find it difficult to actively carry out other activities for the day. However, there are hidden forces behind this behavior that you must understand right now, because they are the very reasons you were pulled into it in the first place. So when you understand this, you will clearly see what is happening to you in the moment, and more importantly, you will know how to navigate through it wisely. So pay very close attention. Number 1, lack of emotional regulation skills. Here is one thing you don't know. Many times when you are tired, afraid, depressed, lonely, heartbroken, or battling real-life challenges, your mind will simply be looking for a way to escape or silence those painful emotions. But in those moments, instead of facing what you feel, you turn to alcohol or end up watching pornography as a quick way to numb the discomfort. But pay close attention here, because here is the hidden damage most people do not realize. It is true that when you watch porn, you may feel a quick wave of relief. So for a moment, the pain seems quieter. The stress feels lighter. But the truth is, the relief is temporary. Why? Because the emotions you were supposed to process and deal with do not vanish. They are only suppressed. They are pushed down into your mind and body. So you are not truly getting relief. You are building emotional baggage. However, when the distraction fades and your mind becomes quiet again, those suppressed emotions rise back up, often stronger than before. Number 2, loneliness epidemic. We are living in what many researchers call the loneliness epidemic. Even though people are more digitally connected than ever, many feel emotionally disconnected in real life. But here's one thing you need to understand about loneliness. Loneliness is not just being alone. It's the painful feeling that you have when you are ignored, not seen, not understood, and not emotionally supported. So when a person feels lonely for a long time, the brain experiences it almost like physical pain. And here is what happens to you in that moment. Your mind begins to crave connection the way the body craves food when hungry. Now, at this point, because your body needs a release of oxytocin, pornography becomes attractive in that vulnerable state because it gives you an illusion of intimacy and artificial bonding. But here is the problem you don't know. When you watch porn because you're feeling lonely and you need a release of oxytocin in your body, it does not solve loneliness. It often deepens it, because oxytocin can only be released through physical bonding, such as cuddling or touch from your partner or loved ones. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the purpose of this video is to reveal practical strategies that work with human psychology to help you break free from pornography addiction. Number 1. Remove easy access and create friction. Before you think you understand what I'm trying to say, pay close attention to me because addiction is strongly linked to impulse, and your brain has a fast and slow system. The fast system seeks immediate pleasure, while the slow system is responsible for logic, discipline, and long-term thinking. So when pornography is easily accessible, just a few clicks away, the fast system wins before the logical part of your brain has time to intervene. This is why convenience fuels addiction. However, this is what happens when you create friction. You are protecting your decision-making ability. Take, for instance, if your phone is beside your bed at midnight, tiredness lowers your self-control and your brain wants quick dopamine. But imagine putting your phone in another room. That extra physical effort, standing up, walking, unlocking devices, automatically creates a pause. And in that pause, your logical brain has time to wake up and say, "This is not what I truly want." Research in behavioral psychology shows that even small obstacles can significantly reduce addictive actions. The goal is not willpower alone. The goal is designing your environment so that discipline becomes easier and temptation becomes harder. Number 2, replace the habit. Don't just remove it. Here is another powerful strategy you need to understand. Addiction is not just about stopping a bad behavior. It is about understanding what that behavior was doing for you. If you only remove pornography but do not replace the reward, your brain feels deprived, and a deprived brain will push you toward relapse. However, because porn creates a strong, fast dopamine spike, you need to understand that whenever you stop, your dopamine levels temporarily drop, and that drop can feel like restlessness, irritability, or emptiness. This is why you relapse, not because you lack discipline, but because your brain is craving stimulation. But here's the solution to build a healthier dopamine system. When you remove a habit like porn addiction from your life, you must replace that space with something constructive. Because your mind does not like a vacuum, it has to be occupied. Number 3, create a personal identity shift. Pause here and listen. Stop saying, "I am trying to quit porn." Instead say, "I am becoming a disciplined and emotionally strong person." Why? Because addiction weakens when your identity is strengthened. When your brain sees you as someone who values self-control, growth, and integrity, your daily choices begin to align with that identity. But you can only do this when you understand and engage this one thing. Write down the kind of man or woman you want to become. Visualize that person daily. Make decisions based on who you are becoming, not on how you feel in the moment. Understand that recovery is not about fighting urges forever. It is about becoming someone who no longer needs them. Number 4, learn to sit with your emotions instead of escaping them. Another dangerous thing you don't know about watching porn is that most pornography use is not really about sex. It's often a way to escape uncomfortable emotions like loneliness, stress, boredom, rejection, or fatigue. So whenever the urge arises, pause and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Naming the emotion helps your brain step out of behavioral reinforcement. Next time you have the urge, take slow, deep breaths, go for a walk, and write down what you feel. You need to understand this. Emotional discomfort behaves like a wave. It rises, peaks, and eventually falls. So if you learn to ride this wave rather than escape it, your brain begins to weaken the automatic pathway that leads you to watch porn. This technique is called urge surfing. Number 5. Rebuild real human connection. Porn often fills the gap of loneliness or emotional disconnection, so you must actively rebuild real connection. Spend more time with friends, join a community, talk openly with someone you trust. If possible, seek therapy or join a support group. Human connection releases natural oxytocin and serotonin, which reduce the need for artificial stimulation. If one part of this video made you pause and reflect, then don't just watch and move on. I would like to know which of these strategies you're going to start applying today. And if you found value in this video, make sure you hit the like button so more people who are struggling silently can find it. And subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next video where I'll go even deeper into practical strategies for personal growth and lasting freedom. Thanks for watching.